what is your expectation from the session, so it will be good for me, so I can take the demo in a proper way. So we will start from Anil Sikwal. Yeah, hi Anil.
So Pradeep, let me start this, and in the meantime, I just share my screen. Just give me a moment.
Okay, sure.
Okay, fantastic. So I hope everyone can see my screen. So you have to, guys, you have to tell me two things. One is your total years of experience, your location, and expectation from this demo. Right? Okay. So Anil.
Yeah, hey Pradeep. Hey everyone. So my total years of I am having 3.5 years of experience and currently based in Ahmedabad.
Mm-hmm.
And from expectation perspective, it is like I am new to API testing, so everything will be something like learning for me.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Pradeep. Welcome to this demo. Ayushi. Ayushi, can you hear? Ayushi, just type either on a chat or you are speaking on mute. So unmute yourself and either type.
Hi Pradeep. Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Ayushi, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I have around total 2 years of experience. I am based out in Delhi NCR, and I also do not have much experience in API testing. So anything that would be taught here would be a learning for me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Because
Thank you. Bhushan. Bhushan, can you hear? Bhushan, please either type or you are speaking on mute because I cannot hear you. Okay, Ankita.
Hi Nitish, I have 6 years of experience and I'm currently located in Noida.
Okay.
And I'm new to API and just like Selenium Batch, I'm looking to learn API here.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Ankita. Welcome to this demo. Kanaya.
Hey, hi, Kanhaiya here. I have 5 years of experience in QA manual and automation. Just before 1 year, I have moved to API testing. So just increase my experience, I came here.
And what is your location,
Thanks.
Kanhaiya?
Pune.
Okay, okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Kanhaiya. Madhur.
Yeah, I have total 6 years of experience. I'm based in Noida. And I'm into API testing for about 1 year. So I have to enhance my knowledge on the performance and the automation of API.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you, Madhur. Welcome to the demo. Rakshit.
Yeah, hi Nitesh, hi everyone. So, so I have a total of around 7 years of experience, and I'm based out of Noida. So my mostly experience is into API testing and API automation. So I've used various tools like SoapUI, Postman, and Rest Assured. But here I'm looking more of into performance and security aspect of APIs. So that will be an added advantage. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, Rakshit. Welcome to this this demo. Sarthak.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Am I audible? Hello.
Yeah, Sarthak.
Yeah. So I'm having 1.5 years of experience, and I'm located in Delhi, and I have knowledge about API testing and all. I'm just looking forward to gain some knowledge about this. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Sorry, some network congestion. So Sarthak, you have 5 years of experience and you are from Delhi. And
1.5 years of experience.
Sorry?
1.5. 1.5.
Okay, okay.
1.5.
Okay. and you are new to API, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Sarthak. Shani?
Hi, I have 4 years of experience. I'm located in Surat and I'm also new to API.
Okay. And from which location you are?
Surat.
Okay, Surat. Okay. Subarna?
Hello. I am having 2.5 years of experience in quality as a quality analyst. I'm from West Bengal, and I am completely new to API. Just want to know more about what is API.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Subarna. Welcome to this demo. I don't know if Bhushan. So again, this is a final call. You either type in the chat box, and I will read on your behalf because I couldn't hear anything from your side. So Pradeep, I have noted it down, and I am stopped sharing my screen. You can continue, please.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Nitesh.
Thank you.
Nitish, can you make me the presenter? Okay. Again, thank you, Nitesh. So we will start because now I've come to know that what is your experience in terms of API, in terms of total IT experience, and what is your expectation from this session. So now I think few persons in this session are really going to help, not me, everybody to take the session properly, because Madhur, as Mother told, that he is already working on API part. I think Rakshit is also working on the API part. So we will focus on the things from the base. This is a demo session, so we will talk about mostly about the concept things, so that Madhur and other persons who have already worked on API part, they can also see that okay, how this session is going to be beneficial for the whole you can say complete course. Okay, so first of all, introduce myself. Myself Pradeep Nalwal. I have a total 13-year experience in QA profile in IT industry. Currently, I am working in an organization that I cannot share. That is a part of policy. But yeah, I can share. Before this organization, I was working with Genpact Headstrong. I think most of you will be aware about the organization name, that is Genpact Headstrong. Currently, I'm working in an organization. I am working as a testing architect. So my role is basically to design the testing frameworks for different type of scenarios, and you can say for different type of problems. Sometimes I have to design the framework for functional testing. Sometimes we have to design for the performance testing. So I train the people on different type of you can subjects like in Selenium, in SOAP UI tool for API testing, for Rest Assured, for JMeter, for any little bit tools that you can easily anybody can learn easily, like Postman, something like that. So basically, I focus on the more important parts of the you can say automation, like web application automation with the help of Selenium, the API testing automation with the help of one tool, that is SOAP UI. And you can also automate with the help of Rest Assured, that is open source API. Same, you automate the things with the help of Selenium. You can automate the APIs with the help of Rest Assured. So we are going to cover this in this course also. Then we'll talk about the performance testing. So again, we are going to pick a tool, that is JMeter. This is open source tool, so widely used. So we are going to use this tool for the performance testing part. Security is the last you can say pillar of this API testing. For that, we are going to use only the tool part, that is SOAP UI. Okay, so let me start from the syllabus, and if you have anything, you have question, you can ask me related to the syllabus. Then I will talk about something about the API. Okay. So refer me. I think Nitesh already told you, it is a very you can say stable big organization in terms of a number of count. 85,000 approx candidates are already enrolled in this. So here is just introduction about myself. So mainly I will talk about the syllabus part. So if anybody have any question, he or she can interrupt me at the same time. Don't wait for the end of the session. Okay, so first of all, highlights is that we are going to cover the API part, SOAP and REST both. Okay, so I will tell you that API comes in the mainly comes in the two flavors. One is SOAP based API and that second is REST. So we'll talk about both the APIs. Okay, then we will cover the API functional testing with SOAP UI tool. So SOAP UI tool is a tool which comes in both flavors. It comes in free version. It also comes in the paid version. So we'll talk about the free version and we'll talk about the partial pay, you can say paid version, that is SOAP UI Pro, so that I can also show you few good features that are available on the paid version also. Why I am covering the paid version of SOAP UI also, because out of India, if you have an opportunity to go to Australia, US, you will see that their SOAP UI paid version is used widely and people are getting very good opportunities there. Okay, then we are going to cover the API same API functional testing with the help of REST assured. So in this we are going to cover all type of again every type of API like SOAP based, REST based. We'll talk about different type of methods. Okay, then we will talk about API performance testing with the help of JMeter. So JMeter, the course of JMeter is very vast, but in terms of this course we are only going to cover only the API part. So whatever is related to the API we are going to cover under this you can say under this course. So again we are going to cover REST, so both type of API, how you can pick the data from some external files, how you can create. The mainly thing is that how you can create the environment. That is the main thing. Otherwise, trust me, JMeter is not very hard to learn. The main thing is that if you are clear about the concept that what is actually functional testing, what is load testing, what is spike testing, what is performance testing. So there are many differences between these two. So if you are aware about all the concept, that you can easily configure the things on JMeter. Okay, rest of the things we are talk about sampler, thread groups. If somebody is not aware about the JMeter, so we will talk about in the detail. Then we are going to use the API functional testing with the REST assured, because this is now the widely used. The reason behind that is that because already in the most of the organization they are using the Selenium framework for their automation. So if you have something existing framework in your organization and if you want to use the API testing, so best thing is that you can use the REST assured and you can use the existing framework for that purpose. So if somebody who have also joined my Selenium sessions and also complete that session, they can also see here that they have also already created the framework in their Selenium. So here we can use that same framework to automate our API testing part. So that's why we are going to use some good you can say tools for that, like extend report. We will use the Maven and TestNG for that purpose. At last we will also show you how you can configure your automation with the Jenkins. Jenkins we also talk about the detail. This Jenkins is not you can say it is not a category of tool. It is a name of the tool. Actually it comes under the category of build trigger tool. Same way we will talk about the GitHub, because if somebody who has less experience, who has not got any opportunity to work on a GitHub, this is a repository tool. It only uses when there is a team which is working on a same project and they want to be in sync. There are lots of challenges related to that, and GitHub is actually going to resolve that challenges. So it is something like a repository when you have to work on a team environment. So it is not directly the part of the syllabus, but why we are covering in every course. If we take the syllabus of Selenium, if we take the syllabus of full stack QA, if we talk about this course, so in every syllabus this part is we already attached, because nowadays whenever you are creating any framework, interviewer can ask you that how you are going to run your framework, how you are going to manage your framework. Okay, so that purpose we have included Jenkins and GitHub. It is mandatory part of our every syllabus. So if you will go to anybody have any question till now about the highlights? Or good?
No.
Okay. So now come to the detail course. Not very much detail, but I've tried to give you a glimpse so that you can understand what we are going to cover. In detail, of course, first of all, the main important thing which we are going to cover actually today. Okay, because if somebody don't want to continue, at least he will get some good understanding what is web service basics. If you don't want to go for the automation, because this syllabus is for both, for manual and automation both. But what I've seen in my career, that in my career I've taken around 1500 interviews. So what I face that whenever I ask the person that are you have you a very experience in API testing, the person says, sir, I have a very good experience. I can automate any type of web service. I can even started my career from the manual API testing. So I just asked this question, what is web service? And trust me, I got the answer, sir. I can open the Postman, I can open the SOAP UI, we can put some data there in the XML, we can click on a button, we will get the some response right side, and we can verify that this is for the API. So I've told you, you have tell me the process of testing, initial testing of the API, but still you have not convey the right message to me what you are going to test. What is the concept of web service? As somebody asks you, you are going to test web application, but what is a web application? Trust me, if you don't know what is web application, now in the industry 80% are people the testing of web application, but they don't know what is actually web application. So if you are not focusing on the base concept, you can survive some time. But if you go to the higher level, if you are getting some promotion, if you are getting higher experience, okay, at that level you are not only working on the functional part, you are going to work on the security part, you are going to work on the performance part. How you will know that how to test the web application, how to test the web service, how to test a database server, how to test the FTP server? There are so many concepts. So basically, first of all, whatever you are going to test, you have to clear your doubts. It's my recommendation, because otherwise, trust me, in my career I have rejected 80%, and I have rejected at the same time I've given them the reason why I'm rejecting, so that they cannot be say that okay, the person is rejecting just on the basis of some question that I don't know. I told them that these are the things you should understand. So we'll talk about the web service basics, then we are going to pick a tool for that, because sometimes a person only want to go with the UI part. So this course is actually designed for both the persons. If you want to go with the proper coding part, then you can also, it is beneficial for you. If you want to go without any programming knowledge, that also it is you can say for you some part, because we have designed a complete course so that everybody can participate. So first of all, I take the example of SOAP UI tool. It is a tool in which we'll talk about everything, how you can install, configure tools. We'll talk about the versions. You can see we are talk about the setup environment. We'll talk about the free version and pro version. So free version you can everybody can install easily. For pro version, I can only show you, I will not provide you the credential for that, okay, because we have a limitation, we cannot share that, but I can show you everything. If you want to practice on your pro version, you can download it from the net. You will get a trial version for that for the 14 days. So whenever I'm going to provide you understanding of pro version, I will suggest you just after that session you will just install your pro version and you can practice all the things. Okay, so this is the good way. Then we'll talk about different levels of the properties. This is same every concept which you are using in the Selenium, that you can create a different type of structure like suite, test cases, different type. So same we can achieve with the help of UI. So it is very easy to understand everything. For every option we have a UI. Here we are going to talk about in different steps in SOAP UI, like delay, Groovy script, property, manual test. There are so many steps there. I will show you. If somebody has not seen that SOAP UI, I will give you a glimpse of that. Okay, then we'll talk about the parameterization, data driven. Why parameterization is very important? We know that today, as there is no existence of a static web application. Now, if you will go and search any application, web application which you try to access on the web, you will see that 99% application are dynamic. Reason is that now there is no concept that just making some few pages there. In the same way, when we are going to create a framework for our automation, there is no way to create some test data fixed. We want to make it dynamic, so that for every run, if you want to change the test data, we can change. So that concept we can achieve with the help of parameterization. Same thing happen when we want to run our test cases with multiple set of data, like we want to run our test cases with 1000 set of data. So how we can achieve that? For that we use the concept of data driven. So we are going to cover this part in you can say SOAP UI also. Then we'll talk about the Groovy script. Groovy script, some basics. Trust me, Groovy script is not a new language. It is something written wrapper on a Java. So what is wrapper on a Java? Means somebody had decided he is going to create a scripting language. So he decided, I will cover all the things, I will support all the things which are supported by Java, and will enhance some new things there. So whatever you will learn in the Groovy, it is just very simple as Java. Okay, so if somebody is going to the Groovy part in the automation, they can go, otherwise they can skip it, their choice, but I'm going to cover it in my course. Few things I will talk about data with connectivity in SOAP-UI, why I'm going to cover this. If you want to pull your test data sometimes from the database, so you can use this feature also. Then we are going to use the reporting part in the SOAP-UI. We will talk about both type of automation. Okay, SOAP-UI web service automation, because I don't know if you know that SOAP-UI is not a tool which is only used for manual testing. If you want to go for the manual testing, you can go with SOAP-UI, but for that I will suggest you can pick Postman. That is lightweight, just an add-on on your browser, you can install. But if you want to go for both in a free way, so why don't you go for the SOAP-UI? Okay, now industry is taking switching themselves from Postman to the SOAP-UI because it's still free with lots of features. So this is from the UI perspective. Anybody have any question regarding the SOAP-UI tool? Ayushi, Bhushan, Ankita, Madhur, Rakshit, Ravi, Sarthak, Sani. So anybody have any question, he can point it now.
No, Pradeep.
Okay, thank you. So
Pradeep,
now
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so Pradeep, just like you mentioned, like Postman we can use for manual functional testing. Like, so like I have been using Postman since like for quite some time. So I find it quite useful as compared to, like, previously I used SOAP-UI as well. So I find it quite useful than SOAP-UI, because in SOAP-UI, like in open source version, we have to write a lot of Groovy and all those things. But Postman lets that flexibility to avoid those things, and it provides like some sort of templates that you can add for verifications and all. So like anyhow, there are disadvantages that I found out in Postman as well. But can you differentiate like which is best in terms of what, like between Postman
I will show you. So you have used the Postman. So have you used the SOAP-UI in terms of automation, or you have used it in terms of manual only?
Both.
Okay, I will show you. I will show you today a glimpse of that, where I will explain you how you can utilize in a proper manner. Okay, so I will show you after this demo. I will show you a proper structure of SOAP-UI also. Okay, so then we'll talk about in the, anybody else any questions so that I can point out that? No, everybody's good. Okay, so we are going to cover after that. Why we have covered the rest assured part, because trust me, even we have SOAP-UI, we have Postman, but still, if you want to really automate something in a proper manner with the help of you can say any tool, I think the API is the best thing. API, I'm not talking about REST API, I'm talking about in Java language. For to achieve anything, to achieve any type of thing, they have created some classes, they have created some methods. With the help of these classes and methods, you can automate, you can create any type of code. So rest assured, API is just a collection of these type of classes. So we are going to use these classes which contains predefined methods. Okay, like how you can call a post method based API, how you can call a put based API, how you can call a delete, different type of API, how you can call. Okay, how you can got a response for that. If you want to make a validation, you get automatically a response which is directly available in the form of validable response. So there are so many methods are available that you can utilize that. Okay, so here you can say we are going to cover main thing, what is request, what is response, what is the basics of RESTful, what is the architecture we will talk about, because so that you can understand what is the difference between web application and web service indirectly called API. Then we'll talk about how you can configure your rest assured in your Eclipse, how you can test, how you can include your response headers, status, how you can use the JSON response for that. Then we'll talk about the Postman, serialization, deserialization, how you can use the authentication in REST services, how you can use different type of methods. You know that when we are talk about the REST service, you will see that in REST API, we get the response in the form of JSON also. So if you want to really work on a automation part of API in a proper manner, you should have some good understanding of the JSON also. So we are talking about JSON part also. Then at last we are going to create a complete framework on REST assured APIs, and for that we are going to use other helping tools like TestNG, Maven, Jenkins. Okay. And third part, we are going to cover the performance testing of JMeter. So JMeter, we are talk about, I have already told you, JMeter is very vast. We are not going to cover each and everything. We are going to cover the part which we have needed for the API testing, because with the help of JMeter we can test the performance testing of a web application, of web API, of database, FTP server, database server, any type of performance testing we can achieve. But in this syllabus we are going to cover only API, because we are trying to create this whole course for complete API perspective. Okay, so here we are going to cover what is performance testing, techniques for performance testing, what are API, different methods are there, what is error codes, okay, how we will install. About JMeter, we'll talk about what is JMeter, why we should use it, what is the installation overview, that things. And mainly we are going to talk about components of JMeter, what is test plan, how to import code files, how to create thread group, sampler, controllers, listener, headers, preprocessor, post-processor, parameterization. Okay, so mainly we'll talk about this. Okay, so if somebody has used little bit JMeter, they also know that JMeter, not JMeter, every tool in terms of performance did not give you opportunity, or you can give you an option so that you can click option and you can make a load testing. You click on a checkbox and it is going to perform a performance testing, load testing, stress testing. No, you have to create an environment for that with the help of some configuration. So if concept is clear that how you can utilize this JMeter for your stress testing, for your load testing, for your performance testing, and different type of testing. So basically we have to focus on how you can create the plan, proper plan. Then rest of the things, trust me, very easy. It is very easy to understand: sampler, controllers, listeners, preprocessor, post-processor, parameterization. Main thing is that how you are going to create the main thing, that is thread group, that is plan. If you have created a proper plan, whatever testing you want to perform, if you want to perform the database testing also, you can also do. Okay, we are going to cover every type of methods here: REST API, get, a post, put, delete, everything. Okay, then we are going to use concept of CSS data config, because CSS data config is that if you want to use the concept of parameterization and data driven, you need to pull some data from the external files. So JMeter actually supports the CSV data file in very good manner. So we are going to cover that. We are going to cover the SSL part also. We are going to cover, but trust me, that is not the major thing. But we are going to cover, because if somebody asks in the interview, you can give the response. In terms of functional testing, response assertion is really mandatory. But functional testing, we have to not focus so much on that part. But we are going to cover that. Then the important part is called the reporting part. In reporting part, we will show you that how you can create the HTML reports, not only the reports which is generated from the UI. You will see in the HTML reports, you have a detailed thing every. So we'll talk about the different parameters of reporting of performance testing, like what is latency, what is throughput. Okay, so when we'll talk about this, the different, we will talk about TPS, we are about BPS. So different terminology we'll talk about, so that running automation in terms of performance is not a big task. Task is that how you are going to explain the things in your report. This is the report, this is the parameter. On the basis of that, you can suggest your team that where they can improve. So this is the you can say syllabus. Rest of things, they are feedback, something there's not. So anybody have any questions syllabus? Then I will just start the few concept of API. So anybody have any question regarding the syllabus? Anybody? They can ask. It is a demo. It is free, so nobody should think about so much about that. So you can raise any concern. If everybody is happy, we can go. We can move.
Yeah, sure.
Pradeep, I wanted to ask about the security testing. So what tools would be used and how much depth would be going to?
Yeah, security testing, it is actually, if you see, it is a proper you can say proper profile of the security testing. So here we are not going to cover so much in terms of security testing. Yeah, we have an inbuilt feature in the SOAP UI tool, Okay, so we are going to cover that part. It actually provides 4 or 5 type of security testings. You have to pass some parameters, so we are going to use that. In terms of coding, if you want, we can test the security testing also, but the security testing also, that is actually in the terms of that, if you understand what is security. So security is something like that, if you can play play with the some structure of your request, if you can play with some header parts of your structure, if you can play with your body part of your structure. So if you can play something in manner so that if somebody get the response, okay, so you can play in this structure when the request is initiated from the source and just go to the target or to the server. So if you are going to manipulate something in between and it is going to hamper your logic, it is going to mislead your business domain logic, so that is called security. So these concepts we will achieve with the help of SOAP-UI. So if you are really interested, we can cover few topics in rest assured also. Okay, but we will not go into detail because trust me, security is a very vast thing. We are going to cover it as a part of syllabus, but not so much so that you can show I'm expertise of security. Are you getting my point? Okay, so yeah, anything else you want to ask? Hello, is it clear your doubt or you want to ask anything else?
Yes, Pradeep, it is clear.
Okay, one thing also I tell you in terms of security testing, security testing is not something that you can test only with the help of your laptop. Security testing, there are so many aspects of security testing, like because I have created this architect for that security testing also. So it only not the terms of your you can say application, it also covers the part of your physical security. Then it covers the how you are going to secure your application in terms of server, not your application.api code. You have to secure your server also. Whenever a API request comes to your server, how you are going to deal with? First of all, you have to deal with, okay, it is a valid request coming from a valid server or not. That is also part of security testing. So security testing, in terms of security testing, it is a very vast profile. Okay, so here why we are covering, because sometimes what I face in my previous organization, that whenever I got you can say requirement from the client side, they told me I want a person that the person should be little bit comfortable on the security side, so that they can test actually few things, like somebody is going to manipulate the things in terms of header, body, something like that. I know that if somebody know the concept of request origin. Anybody know what is request origin? Anybody know, any idea what is request origin?
So Pradeep, I think it's all about like from the source from where the request is coming. So that is part of the header. So that we send.
Yes.
Like,
Yes, yeah, great thing. So that's why we cannot cover so many things about, because trust me, when I will ask this question, trust me, out of 100 I got 1 or 2% who will give the answer. Request origin is also part of security threat. Sometimes what happen when you are when a request is coming from one source, what hacker can change the they can manipulate the header part, so they can change the securities. Okay, so every time when the API or any web application code is going to be server side, developer should write a code, or you can say handle this. They should check whether the origin is trusted or not. If the origin is trusted, then they should give the response. Otherwise they can give the something error response that this is not a valid, or request is not generated from the valid resource for that. There are so many things. I've taken the example because I can just want to convey that it is a broad course. Okay, now we will talk about.
I have a quick question here.
Yeah.
So Pradeep, this manipulation of the headers and all these things, shouldn't it be part of functional testing as compared to security testing? So like how it is part of security, because I believe it should be part of functional. Like you can correct if I'm wrong.
Yeah, okay, I can tell you why it should be part of. So functional testing is something like that. If you are doing some, if you are giving some request, okay, if you are giving some request, so you are getting the proper response or not. Okay, so it is assumed that when we are talking about the functional testing, we only take the consideration of you can say general users. Are you getting my point? Suppose if you take the example of Bhushan, you are a general user, Ankita, Madhur, everybody is general user. We are not a hacker. Okay, so they only try to access our application in a proper manner. So they want to get the response in some manner, like they want to access a API which is going to give the sum of two numbers. So they will give a two numbers, 2 and 3, and they will get the response of 5. Are you getting my point? But from hacker perspective, it is not a not a use of your application for their you can say some you can say something they want to achieve with your you can say application. Okay, so hacker doesn't log into the Amazon, doesn't log into the Flipkart to make a purchase in a usual manner. They always try to log into the this type of servers to get the threads of that application so that they can enter. They always try to get the loopholes. So loopholes, something we are talking about the loopholes. We are talking about the what are the you can say lack in terms of security, where a person who is intentionally going to change the manipulate the request part. So that is called the security. When hacker general, the functional testing we test for the general user. If you are not agree, is it okay or not? Are you getting what I want to convey you?
Yes, I somewhat got, but like not completely agree with this point, because like not every company supports or provides a security perspective, right? So functional testing is like given the topmost priority. So shouldn't this scenario of like basic security checks should be considered in the functional testing scope?
Yeah, you are testing, but again you have when you are explaining this thing, you have used the term security, right? You have used the term you have to use the term, Pradeep, when you are going to test, can we consider as the basic security? Because you have used the term basic security. So trust me, when our user is when a developer is going to check, he's going to write a code. Even I can write a code to check whether the request is coming from origin or not. Okay, so we can do it, but standard, in terms of standard, do you think that should come under the category of functional testing? No, it should not come. But if you want to deal with, you can. Even I can tell you, we know that if you want to send a request to Amazon or any Flipkart, what thing you do use? You use a browser, right? You use a browser, right? But I can tell you that we can directly send a code from our we can write a code to directly send a request to the Amazon. Okay, but that is not a usual way. Usual way is every user. If you take the example, anybody, if you will ask from this group, Ravi, Sarthak, anybody, if I will say, can you make a shopping from the Amazon? They will say, yes, I will go to log into the Amazon web application using the browser. Okay, but that is not only the thing. You can access to the application using your own code. I can write a code for that. It's a simply, trust me, it is a 5-line code. You can hit a request to the Amazon server and whatever you want to achieve, except the loopholes. If they have not, they have catered all the security holes, otherwise I can access. And trust me, when a hacker is going to interact with your application in terms of security holes, he don't try to use the browser. They use some code, some scripting language for that. So are you getting what thing I want to convey?
Agreed, Pradeep, to your point. I am agreed. But like my question initially was like not every company is performing security testing on their APIs, right? So these type of checks, like whether the request is coming from a genuine source or not, and the expected headers are coming as part of the request or not, should that be considered in the functional testing scope while testing? Because security is like as of now we are not performing security, and not most of the companies perform explicitly security testing over their APIs.
Yeah,
so
exactly,
that's what my question is.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
So I part of the functional testing plan or not?
Yeah, exactly. So I understand, and I'm agree on that point, that if it is something like that, if you are not focusing on the security part, you are not going to the proper security testing, so you are trying to find some ways so that whatever you can handle with your code in terms of functional testing, you can do. Okay, so I'm agree with that. If your company or project is not allowing to for the security testing, sometimes client don't say I don't need for that, and if you can cater few things like header, something like that, you can handle with that the security. Okay, so we can consider it in that in the category of functional testing because you are handling it. You got my point? Yeah, so I'm agree that because something I'm agree in this point that if your company or if your organization is not going to cater security as a proper testing part, so they are trying to get some substitute for that with the help of some functional code. So that is also okay. 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 Yeah. Anybody else having any doubt? No. Okay, so today we are going to talk about security testing. So I think we have Madhur also, Bhushan also. Bhushan, you have also experience in API testing? API? Hello. Bhushan, I'm not able to hear you. Hi, Bhushan. Okay, Madhur, you have any idea what is API actually? What is web service?
A web service is basically a software that we interact on an internet using some common languages like XML or JSON. Basically, interaction between a client and a server perform as request and response for a particular operation.
Okay, so okay, right, exactly right thing. Let me show you. So I will give you a very good example that why web service or you can say API plays a very important role in our daily life operations. Okay. So if somebody is not talking, he or she can be a mute. Bhushan, you can be on mute. Who else is? Okay, thank you. Yeah, so if anybody have any question, he can interrupt me in between, okay, but rest of the time please be on mute.
Raviraj, can you mute yourself?
Yeah, I think someone is.
Okay. Ravi, I think noise is coming from your side, maybe. Ravi. Ravi, can you be on mute?
I'm not able to see.
Okay, Ravi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So here I talk about, I will give you a very real example. Suppose, take the example of, this is your SBI ATM. So you can talk about it's a SBI ATM or you can consider it as a SBI application. So sometime I will use the mix-up concept. So simply you can understand for real example, you can consider this is a SBI ATM. Okay. So now suppose I will take the example of Madhur. Madhur, suppose you want to open an account in a bank. So what you will do, first of all, suppose you want to open an account in SBI, right? So you will go to SBI bank, you will submit your all the details, your KYC, everything, then you will issue an account and they will provide you ATM card, right, Madhur?
Yes, Pradeep.
Okay, so now what you can do whenever you need some money or you need to make any transaction, you will go to this SBI ATM and you will insert your card. When you will insert your card, it will ask for you some PIN number, right? And you will insert the PIN number, and whatever, if you want to withdraw some amount, it will withdraw, right? Is it okay? This is the normal scenario.
Yes.
Okay, now this is also sometime happens whenever suppose Madhur just go to this SBI ATM, he inserted the card, then he ATM machine asked for some PIN number, he had given some PIN. So what will happen? Actually, what happens behind the scene, this application, this SBI ATM is, you can treat as an application. This application actually interact with the SBI database, right? Madhur, right? Because whenever you are making a transaction, so how it comes to know that you are a valid user or not?
Yes, it
So what
authenticates basically.
Yes. So because because you know that everybody, not SBI person, if somebody have an account with ICI, they can also insert the card in your SBI. So how SBI know that this card is from their SBI and where they should go for the authentication? So you have inserted the card. The card, I don't know, most of the person, I think they know that card contains all the information, that it contains your account number, it contains the information like which providers supports it, like Visa, MasterCard. It also contains the information whether this card contains to which account. Okay, the thing which it doesn't contain, that is only the PIN number. Okay, that's why when you are inserting this card in an ATM, it only asks for you for the PIN number. So what will happen? Madhur has inserted the card in this ATM machine. It will go actually. Why it will go to the database? So the information will go to the SBI. Request will go to the SBI database, and they will check. Okay, this card contains the SBI, and the account number is a valid account number. So they will ask you whether it is a valid user who is using this card. So they will ask for the ATM PIN number. You will send that, and they will disburse the money. Is it okay, Madhur?
Yes.
Okay, now scenarios happens that now when Madhur just went to the SBI ATM, he insert the transaction, for the transaction, ATM pin was expected, he give the right pin, but he come to know that there is no cash in the ATM machine. So without thinking anything, we know that it is a behavior of every person, not only Madhur, every person. He know that just adjacent to this ATM machine or the adjacent of the building, they will find another ATM, right, Madhur? Right. So maybe you can take the example of any bank. I can take the example of ICI, or you can take the example of PNB also. So now what happened? Without thinking anything, I'm not taking the example of only Madhur. Every person when face this problem, they just go to this PNB ATM, they insert their card. Okay, the card, when they insert the card again asks for the PIN number. They give the PIN number, and then they enter the amount, whatever they want, and it was dispersed. Okay, so now can anybody tell me SBI is a one bank and PNB is a one bank? So if Madhur is inserting the card here, so where it should go to validate the PIN number? Madhur, where it should go to validate the PIN number?
The bank like SBI for which ATM was inserted.
Yes, but do you think a bank will allow another bank to access their database? Do you think it is possible, or it is the right way? Do you think or not? I'm just taking your opinion. So because PNB is some different bank, I don't think so SBI will allow PNB to access their database, so that whenever it's card inserted, they can come to that. So I think this interaction is not possible, that it will go directly to the SBI ATM to validate the things. Madhur, you are okay with this or not?
But there should be some mechanism in between.
Yes. Yes. So that will be the answer. That will be the answer of why we are taking the help of web service. Okay. So the thing is that you are everybody is okay on that. That PNB SBI will not allow any other bank to access their database, because if they allow the access of their database, another bank can do anything with that database. They can withdraw some money directly. They can you can say deposit. Not the case. Nobody is going to deposit every time. Everybody is interested to withdraw some amount. So I don't think so SBI will allow this. So anybody who is not agree with this is not possible that SBI will allow PNB to direct access their database. Is it okay? Sharthak, is it okay?
Fine.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, Madhur has also raised a concern that whenever I'm inserting a card in the PNB, it is a card of SBI. It is validating everything. So it is 100% sure that if it is validating, it is giving me a money, it is disbursing the money, it means it is able to interact with the SBI database, right? Because it is not possible. So why it is validating, how it is disbursing. But again, I'm saying that security says that PNB cannot access the database of SBI. In the same manner, if some PNB person is going to use the ATM card in SBI, okay, so PNB will not allow to access their database, right or wrong? Okay, right. So it means I will not take the term that, it means something is there in this between. Something is there. I will not give the name. Suppose something is there here. Something is there who is going to use this work. You know who will be do? Maybe this component or this part be something like a presenter of SBI. So you can say SBI actually introduce one mediator. Okay, SBI from their side introduce a mediator from their side and tell every bank that if my customer come to your ATM and want to access the SBI account, don't directly come to my database. I will not provide you access. You simply can interact with my application. So what will happen? If Madhur will insert the card, first of all PNB will interact with this component, okay, with all the details. Now this person is going to interact with the database. This person will fetch all the information from the SBI database to this component, and again it will be forwarded back to the PNB. Madhur, everybody is agree on this or not?
Yes.
So what is the benefit of this concept? The benefit of this concept is that now PNB is directly cannot interact with the database. He can only send few information that a person has interacted with me. This is the account number. This you can say this PIN number he has inserted. Can you verify in your bank that this is your valid customer? So this component will show yes, it is a valid customer and it has account balance of 1 lakh. So you can disburse the amount from your side, and then we will take care about there will be some mutual understanding between banks. So but the thing is that PNB is only interacting with this component. Okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So to add on to the, like, I would like to add on something here. So it will be like of a general public contract, so that every new bank has to follow this contract rules, and
exactly. Exactly. So it is you can say it is a in general time, because we are not going so much technical in this you can say example. So I can tell it is something like a mediator. So that mediator is something like a, you can say it is a person from you can say SBI. So I can simply say SBI mediator. So this mediator is actually will stand in front of the, you can say, SBI application or SBI database whenever any bank. Yeah, you have raised the very good thing. Suppose I take the example of this. Okay, maybe it cannot be PNB, it can be ICICI Bank also. So what will happen? Suppose Madhur did not find the amount from the PNB. So without thinking anything, he will go to the ICICI. Same thing will happen when he will insert the card in the ICICI Bank ATM. He will ask for a PIN. He will give the correct PIN. The amount will be disturbed. So what will happen in this case? Again, in the same case, ICICI will validate only things when he can interact with the SBI database. But he cannot interact because it is a security thing. How one application will give you the access of another person. Okay, so again in this case, if it is inserted, ICICI will also contract with this mediator. So every bank will contact this mediator of SBI. He will ask for information. This mediator will get to the SBI database or application, will bring some information and will just reply back to the ATM. Are you getting this thing? Okay, so this is the thing. But now you will think why this mediator, why when this mediator was, you can say, created, what was the challenges? Okay, so now if you will clearly see, if I take the example of SBI, this mediator, and this PNB ATM. So how many components are in your example? I can give the example. This is suppose component A. It is a one application. I can give the example. Suppose this is a B. PNB is a B application. I'm just giving in a name so that you can easily understand the concept. And this is a C application. Okay, so now you can see, now B, if B want to make a transaction, B application want to interact with the this mediator component, he has to interact with the C. Okay, C is again application. So you know that every application is built on every application built with the help of any programming language, right or wrong? Sunny is you're okay with that every software is used or created, developed with the help of any programming language, right? No, Shani is not there.
Yeah, right.
Rakshit, are you there? Rakshit, are you there?
Yes, Pradeep.
So Rakshit, are you okay with that? If any application in this world is created, that is created with the help of any programming language, we cannot specific with the particular one. Yeah, but definitely there will be a programming language, right?
Right.
So if you take the example, suppose PNB, this application, I would take the example, this is developed with the help of Java, and C is developed with the help of some other programming language. Like you can take the example of C#. Second thing, you cannot restrict anybody, you cannot restrict SBI or PNB that whether which operating system on which server they can host their application. Maybe it is not the case in real world that somebody is going to host the application on Windows, because Windows is very less secure. So but for the example, it is possible that suppose SBI hosted its application in Windows environment, okay, and PNB hosted its application in Linux or Unix environment. Okay, mostly we know that the application is hosted in the Unix or Linux environment. The reason is that it is very much secure. You can develop your code Windows, that is okay, but 90% application are hosted on the Unix or Linux environment, because it is really very secure in terms of Windows. Windows is popular because everybody is using it in their own house. So now why I'm picking this thing. Now the challenge is that I can make a application for this mediator, but the challenge is that if this application is created on C#, B is application created on Java. So it is a problem that when two different application on different platform or different programming language, if they are created, it will be a problem to interact. Okay, in the same way, suppose there is a German person and there is some Russian person. So can you think about that? They can interact easily. They need some they can only interact with each other if they use a common language for that. Like German should also know the English, Russians should also know the English. So they can be on the different language okay, but they can communicate on a common language. Okay, Aishu, you are getting this point?
Yes, sir.
So it means you can develop a mediator also here, but you have to come out of these challenges. Like it should not depend on your operating system, whether you are hosting the application on Windows or Unix. It should not depend on a particular programming language. SBI is very old, so I can consider that they have developed their application in, suppose you can take the example of Java. PNB is little more, you can say, new in comparison to SBI. If you take the example of ICI is really very new, so they have developed their code with the help of C#. So now what qualities we should you can say incorporate in this SBI mediator application so that these problems can be shot out? Okay, so how these problems can be shot out? We have created a concept that we will develop this part. that we will develop this mediator, but using few conditions. We will develop an application in this such way, whenever this application can be developed, it can be developed in any language, doesn't matter. But whenever the communication will be happen with any other system, it will happen with the help of some common language, some common, you can say, protocols. We are going to use that. So in which one protocol is that whenever there will be communication, we are going to use not any programming language, we are going to use some language like XML, like JSON. So we are going, because we know that XML, JSON, these are not programming language, these are actually used to store your data. Okay, so when you are going to communicate, these are not the, you know, the XML is, anybody know what is the XML full form? It's a, anybody?
Extensible markup language.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So there is some difference. There is a difference in programming language, it's scripting language, XML. Every language has some specific, you can say, target for that. So XML is just used to store some data. Okay, if you don't know, if you don't want to store your data in a database, you can create XML structure in a file, and you can store data in your you can say in your file system also. And you can fetch everything same as like you are fetching data from XML, and not so much, but little bit the concept is very closer to the NoSQL database concept. If you have heard that concept, NoSQL, MongoDB, something like that, this is little bit very close to this concept, that if you want to store some data, so you should have proper structure for that, so that you have to structure how you can create a table, how you can create a rows, how you create the columns or that. So it is, so why I'm telling this, simply XML is just used to you can say store data, how you are going to store data, how you are going to format, how you are going to store data in a proper structure. Same JSON is used, they have some different syntax for that. Mainly XML use the tags, angular brackets for this, and JSON use the square brackets and curly braces for that. So simply you can say XML and JSON, these are not programming language, these are only used for data storage. So every programming language, it is C#, it is Unity, it is Java, it is Ruby, Python, every language actually supports it in terms of communication. So we have restricted this application. Okay, this application will only support data communication in the way of XML and JSON. Okay, first thing I protected. Second thing what I have done, that first thing, that if we want to make this communication secure, okay, so we can do one thing, we can by default make this communication secure in terms of application. So we can incorporate by default few security things. So if we are going to by default incorporate few security things, we can take the one flavor of this application, like SOAP based. SOAP based is by default not so much, but little bit secured by default. Okay, so if you talk about REST based you can say application, that is not secured by default, you can incorporate the security according to your need. Okay, so in this there are so many other, you can say parameters. On the basis of that you decide this component. So this component is now called web services. Okay, so when you are called these things, this will when you will say this this will support either they will support the SOAP access protocol, if ever whether they will support the RPC method call, whether they will support the different type of methods by default, if they support the WS security protocols. Okay, so you know, on different type of parameters this application is designed, and outcome can be a REST API or can be a SOAP API. Okay, so if you take the example of SOAP API, if you want to make your communication only in the form of XML, so you should go with the SOAP. If you want to make your this component flexible so that they can interact with any application with the XML and with the XML JSON also, so you should take with the help of REST API. So they are a different implementation. So this part, this middle part is called web service. And web service, actually, why the people say that web service is a very small you can say small structure of a web application. There is only difference in web application and web services. Both the things are prefixed with the web. So means this component is also available in the web application is also available on the web. The thing is that because this thing mostly, this web service thing is mostly used to interact between two machines without any user intervention. Why I've taken the example? Do you think when Madhur has inserted the card in the PNB, he has got the amount in his hand, but do you know that PNB application interacted with the SBI application? So here two applications are interacting. So client and server, if you will see, so client and server both are some machines, some system. So whenever you need to interact two machines, two applications without any user intervention, you can use this component. Okay, and at the time of user, there is no think about, no, there should be no worry about that whether one application is using which language, another is which language. The communication should be common, and that is the part of this component. Okay, so this is called trust. And in when you are going to talk about why other advantage of web services, today, if you think today application is not build up on the, you can say, whole code in the same, you can say, application software. What they do, they develop their web application in the small components of web services. Okay, they develop the, suppose a application needs a login functionality. If you take the example of Amazon, they want a functionality of, to add some money in the wallet. They want some functionality to you can say use some reward points in the application. So we can use this thing instead of creating a whole application. There are different web services components are created, like for adding some money, like fetching some reward points. So these components are different, you can say, created differently. You can individually they are created, and when they needed, they can integrate it in a web application. So benefit is that sometimes if you want this component to be used by multiple applications, multiple devices, you can use. This is the main thing why today mobile devices are very much popular. Reason, one company develops an API, they use that API in their application, at the same time they use that API in their Android or iOS APK also. APK just simply what do, they make a call in this component. So the thing is that web service is now going to be the base of your application. You will see every application is now going to moving forward, so that they are not going to create a integrated, tightly coupled application. They are going to create different components in terms of web services. Okay, that's why these are nowadays very much popular. Now if you talk about what are the advantage, whenever you're going to make any new features and you are going to integrate into the main application, so trust me, when you are going to integrate directly in the main application, you have to make so many testing there. But if you are going to make some component like as a web services, because it is still a small software, you can test it easily. So testing cycle will be not so big, not so much complex. Okay, this is use the concept of make one time, reuse many times. So do you understand what is the base concept of web service, why they are useful, and how they are going to? Still, if you are recently, I don't know if you've seen the that ad of Amitabh Bachchan, in which he was trying to some control the remote, and he is going to he is driving from the car, something I like, I think, and he is switching and he is going to interact with the AC in his house. So from one car, he can control the AC in his house. How it is possible? Because car is one device, AC in his house is another device. So they are trying to interact with two devices, and there is no restriction. One device can be developed on one software, another on develop. So how they can interact? The only possibility is with the help of this API. So you see this API has changed the, you can say, overall thinking of the user, overall thinking of, you can say, IT industry. Anybody have any question this thing? Now everybody is clear. Yeah.
So is there any difference between API and web services? I mean, just they are like similar, no?
Actually, if you will talk about, there is very many difference, but generally people say that web service is a, you can say it is a concept, and how you are going to implement it is implemented in two ways. So one is you are using some protocol like SOAP based protocol. I will tell you in the detail when we'll talk about the session. You are using some protocols. You are actually restricting the communication, that my communication will be only happen with the help of XML. We are going to use only the post method. We are by default using some security mechanism. So in this term, this web service, the refined version of web service term, that is called SOAP based. Okay, and if you are going to not restrict your this application web service with only the XML part, you want to support both the parts. By default, you don't want to rigid your application that they should follow the security mechanism, and you can make them flexible if you want. They can. Then there are other type of concept comes out, that is called REST. So usually because nowadays REST API have all the flexibility, so people actually in short call the REST API as API. Are you getting my point? Otherwise API also, if you have some experience in Java or any other language, they also use the term API. So API is something like called application programming interface. Okay, so here API is just you can say why they are using API, because nowadays SOAP are not so much used. Mainly they use the REST API. So instead of saying REST API, they only use the term API. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else, anything? Because trust me, if you are not going to continue the session, that is okay. But every time, whenever I take the demo session of any topic, my objective is that if you will just, when you will move out of this session, you will really have something clear in terms of manual testing. Because trust me, if you have an opportunity to take some interview in an organization, trust me, people will simply show. I will show you what they said to me and what they say. They simply say, Pradeep, I can open this SOAP UI. Let me open this. They simply open this. They show me. Okay. They show me. Okay. My Pradeep, what happened? Yeah. Anybody asking any question?
Which is the most popular tool for the APIs? Like there's also one tool name is Postman, right?
Yeah. I will tell you. There is a question also. I will tell you. If you'll go to the latest version of a SOAP UI, you will see. I will show you one thing. I will show you, because I think Bhushan has asked this. Bhushan is also here. Yeah, Bhushan has asked this question. Pradeep, can you tell me? He still found that Postman is very good. Yeah, I can understand, because Postman is also, it is something like that. Two competitors are there in the market. So Postman, how do you think that Postman has initiated one thing, one concept in the market? He will easily withdraw from the market? No. Everybody, if you take the example of real world, suppose Madhur is going to start a business. After some time, Bhushan has started a business and provides some more features on same business. So Madhur, you will withdraw from the feature, or you will try to enhance your business? Are you getting my point, Madhur? Yeah, so same thing happened here, Bhushan. The thing is that, so yeah, I agree that Postman was the first thing that comes into the picture, because at that time people there was API was not so much popular, so people only want to test the basic thing of the API. They only want to put some requests and they want to get response. So yeah, so Postman was doing the same thing very good. But now the people feel that can we create a automation script there? Can we save it in the future so we can run it from anytime, from anywhere? So in that thing, so many tools come into the market. Okay, so SOAP was the first tool that was widely accepted. Okay, so initially they have only launched the free version. So you will see, if you go to the Postman, still Postman was launched as a add-on of a browser, right Madhur? It was launched as a add-on. You can just add on as plugin. But now they also provided you that you can also download, or you can say load a UI, proper UI for that. You can run it without that browser also. So they have enhanced their feature, but at the same time, SOAP UI has enhanced lots of features. So if you go to the free version also, trust me, you will see. Here you are getting these type of all the options. If you compare here, which you are seeing here, trust me, I don't know what experience you have with Postman, but you can do more than Postman here. Okay, even you can say I have created approx I created in my career, I have automated approx 600 APIs with the help of SOAP UI. Yeah, same time we have a good you can say benefit here. Something if is really very customized, you can take the help of Groovy. Okay, so I don't know Bhushan has experienced that or not, that if you are going to write some code in the Postman, I don't know that whether you can write a very good code or not, but in SOAP UI you are flexible to write any code. Even I can promise you, I can commit you, you can just pull any code from the net written in Java and you can write it here and it will run. So now you can think, sometimes it happens that if you what is the major challenge, you want to achieve something and you are not getting a proper code, you can go to the net and trust me, in terms of Java you will get any type of help. Just go and copy that code and use it here. So if you are using that code, you can do anything. But apart from that, still if we are not talk about the language part of the SOAP UI, still it is very stronger. Okay, so if you want to see, I can show you. So for this I will show you, let me one thing. Yeah, so when we are going to talk about syllabus also, because I'm going to show you demo, so let me show you what else thing you will get here, because I am very interested in learning the things. So I have already explored the things and I've already created my own web service. Why I've created this, I will tell you. So how many of you, anybody of you who is not getting a opportunity to test web service in their organization? Anybody? Akash, Anil, Ayushi, Rakshit, Sarthak, Shani, anybody of you who did not get a opportunity to test the web service, but if they want to learn, they need really some web service for that. Anybody? Oh, everybody is getting a web service. Good. So the session will be very beneficial for every person, because everybody is getting the web service. So they have to just understand how they can test and how they can automate. But if somebody is interested, I can show you that if you want to create a web service, you can create in your local machine also for learning purpose. Yeah, definitely it is not be a full-fledged web service, but for your learning concept, it will be very good. Why I'm saying this, why I'm giving this opportunity? Because whenever you test in your organization, you test your web service, you only get the part which is given by the client or developer. Like they share you WSDL, they share you some URL, they share you some parameters and say, okay, just use it and test it. If I will give you opportunity to show into the depth of a web service code, then you will see, okay, why when somebody is giving me WSDL, how this WSDL is created, how this request part is created. So you can, if you understand that part, you will trust me, you will get a confidence, okay, this type of things happens in the back end. So that's why we have to test it in this way. Okay, so we don't need to learn that part. So okay, so we have to just see so that I can show you the impact. So here I have created this web service. Okay, it's my own because we know that we can easily write a code in Java. So it is simply like a code to create a web service, and it is simply like some click. Okay, so I will if you want, I can give you the steps how you can create with the help of some clicks. But the benefit is that you can get this web service on your local machine. So sometimes if net is not available, you can still practice your things, because these web services will be available on your local server. Second thing, if the person is not getting opportunity in his organization to get a web service, okay, so he can also use that. Third thing is that if you want to really want some web service from net, trust me, most of the time is net is also available, but the most services that are not so much stable, if they are free, if you ask somebody says, man, oh, I will take the example of currency converter, I will take the example of weather service, but trust me, they are not trustworthy, so that you can learn things with that API. Okay, so in this case, I will provide you simply with the help, within 5 minutes I will create 2 web service, one flavor of SOAP and one flavor of REST, and it is going to work same manner. I can show you. Okay, so let me run this. For this, simply you need to you can say you simply need to create few steps in NetBeans. So you need to, but it is not the mandatory part. If somebody interested not to in creating the web service so that he can also get a depth knowledge, I'm okay with that. This is an optional session, and nobody, if somebody is not interested, they can. So I've created this web service and deployed on my local server. I've used the local server Glassfish because we cannot use a heavy server as a, you can say, trainer. I have so many things deployed on my the system, so I cannot use the IBM WebSphere, or I cannot use the JBoss. They are really very heavy server. So here my purpose is just to deploy or launch a web service. So I've used this Glassfish. It is for learning purpose, very lightweight. Okay, so if you want to see, I have also given a real environment. How I have given the real environment? When you are going to, I have written this code. When you interact with the application, you will see it is actually using the concept of CRUD also. Anybody knows what is CRUD? Anybody know what is CRUD? It is an abbreviation.
Create, read, update, delete.
Yeah. Actually, if we'll talk about any application in this world, if they are using these concepts, so it is called a complete featured application. Create, read, update means you know that these are the concept not come from the application. These are the real world. So it will be funny for in listening, but yeah, you can see everybody, every human being also comes under this category. He is created, he is read means the people calls him, update time to time he grows, and delete at the last it is deleted. But the only difference is in the terms of funny that in the real life the person is hard deleted, and in our software industry we don't use the concept of hard delete, we use the concept of soft delete. Anybody know the concept of soft delete? What is soft delete? I raised this question in interview many times in my manual testing. Anybody know what is soft delete?
Yeah, so soft delete is basically we don't delete it from the DB, and we just mark our flag to, you know, mark
Actually,
it as screenshot or
so
not. And hard delete is like
really,
complete removal and from the DB level.
exactly, really appreciate that thing. So same time, can you tell me the benefit why we use this concept?
Yeah, so I think the benefit would be if in future, if we want to use that particular feature or we want to access that particular record, we just need to, you know, enable the flag and can easily extract the record. That's what I think of the benefit.
No, this is the you can say right benefit. I will give you the proper terminology for that. Every application, what is the heart of every application? That is the reporting part. Are you agree or not? Reporting part is the heart of every application. If you can make so many things in your application, but if you cannot get downloaded or you can get a proper report for any type of situation or every type of scenario, your application is no use. Okay, so in reporting part, this is the special part of your application in which you create a query with this flag. You are right, Rakshit, that you use the flag. You do not delete any record from the database. You only create a flag variable in every table that is called status. Generally the name called status, active, something like that. Some people name this field active. Okay, so whenever you want to delete a record, actually the record is not deleted from the server, database server. They make that particular Boolean flag variable to false. So what happens in whole application, every time in whole application, whenever you will see there is a request, there will be a query, every query will be, you can say, use this concept that this flag equal to true, so that in whole application you will see only the active users, only active data. But reporting is the only place where they give the flexibility so that you can access all the active users or active data or inactive. Why? Suppose if we take the example, in Amazon, 1,000 users have already registered 1 year back. Okay, now after 1 year they do not renew their data. So what will happen? They are not active users. So what will happen? So this flag will be false. Now Amazon think about, can we approach these users so that I can again approach them to make them again active? So how they will know that what are the users? which are not active. So he will go to that reporting part and he will fetch all the users which are not active. So if somebody is, now think about that, if Amazon had deleted some user when he was not active, when their renewal period was closed, so can they get that data again? No, because that is deleted from the database server. So this is very important question, and trust me, at higher level, when you are going to attain an interview at a level of 5-6 plus, they will expect you this soft delete. Soft delete in terms of, you can say, application development. This is the heart. If you are not going to, whenever you are going to create a architect thing in terms of database structure, this is the field every architect always make that field in the structure. I hope you understand, Rakshit.
Yes, Pradeep, but how do we decide that which particular functionality or which particular scenario we need to, like every scenario or functionality has code operation, right? So how do we
Yeah, actually, Rakshit, it is actually it is a decision of the domain and the business client, that what even you will see all the features on in reporting are also not visible. It depends on the access rights also. It depends on the, you can say, business criticality. It depends on the business security also. Okay, so sometimes it may be happen. Do you think somebody is able to get the information of all the user and password in a report module? No, it is that is available in the database. But do you think so any application should allow you give a reporting in which you get the user and password for all the users? No, it may be happen that if there is a reporting feature, that will be restricted for a particular role, for a particular admin, for a particular super admin. Okay, so it is decided by the, you can say, your client, if he is technical, and your stakeholders, your project manager, who is going to, your business analyst, who are all take part in the decision of software development. So they part what feature, what things should be incorporated in the reporting part or not. That on the basis of that, the database architect create this field. But trust me, even this decision is not taken. Every architect likes to create this field in every field, because there is no harm to use this field. But in the future, if you want to utilize this field in every table, you don't need to worry about that. You have to write some query, some updates their query in your application. Okay, so this is a decision, depends on business logic, business criticality, and what feature in reporting you want to acquire. Right, Akshay?
Yes, sir.
No, still you have not satisfied. You can ask me.
No, I'm convinced.
Okay, good. So here I have already launched this thing, because I've already told you, because I know that most of the person are really aware about. Here you can see, here I have launched this. So you can see here, I will copy this URL. Actually, I have deployed this application, but in the real life, in the real use scenario, I don't think so you will give an opportunity to see this. You will simply see this thing, that he will launch a browser, and your manager will say, this is a WSDL, WSDL. Your things starts from here. And now the thing is that you have to, this, anybody know what is WSDL? Madhur, I can expect from you, what is WSDL?
Yeah, WSDL is basically or contains all the information about the services, the operations, the mandatory part, basically all the things that will go in the request and all the services provided by this software.
Exactly. Really, I really appreciate. Exactly right definition. WSDL. Why it is called WSDL? It is a, you can say, it is a description language for web service, or it simply, you can say, it is a XML document for your web service. That's why developer shares the document with you in the XML format, because it contains all the information. Not only this information, that what operation it support, what services provide, it already also give the information what is the hosted location. If you go to the end of this file, you will say, are you able to see this tag? The name of service is this. You can see what is the binding part, this one. Can you see what is the location of web service? Are you everybody able to see this part? In service tag, there is a location. So this information, where this service is located, because how you come to know? Okay, suppose I am exposing this service in the market. So how somebody know that how they can interact with my service? They first of all need to know the URL. So you will get that information from here. Then they should know, okay, how many operations, how many you can say features this provide. So everything is here. I can simply say you something like get a student by IDs. It is created by me. So I have created my own operation. I have tried to add all operation, create, read, update, and delete, add a student. But trust me, because Madhur has knowledge on API WSDL, so he can understand. But trust me, Madhur, can you really say that anybody can easily understand this XML and use for API testing?
No, it takes time. Basically, we use a tool to import the WSDL. That way we
Exactly. Now the second question comes in the interview, that if I will say, can we test this WSDL or web service without any tool? Yes, we can test, but we need some API, some methods, so that we can read this Excel. We can extract the information from this Excel. Then we will know, okay, this is the method, this is the operation. For request, how many parameters have to pass, what will be the output, what will be the type of output. So we have to write a code for that. Okay, so we can use this thing also, but yeah, which is going to help us in this criticality, that instead of on behalf of us reading this document, anybody who can read this document and just give me a UI so that I can easily interact. So yes, answer is that in this page, in this you can say situation, in this condition, tools come into the picture. You simply open this tool and simply say file, new, SOAP project. Okay, it is actually something like a software which is expecting some WSDL here, and you will see I have given Excel. So what this tool is doing, actually, as Madhur told us, on behalf of us, this tool is actually reading this WSDL. It is written in a standard format. WSDL has a standard format because every tag is standard. You can see every service you will see it have service tag. Okay, it have operation tags. Okay, so every tag is standard. So tool actually develops a code. They read this code and show you a beautiful UI. Let me, okay. Are you able to see? You are able to see this structure. This is a binding. This is an operation. Even if you expand it, you will see this is the request part. If you see, you can see this expects one parameter name, one is age. So how it is created by this SOAP UI? Trust me, it has done only the one thing. This tool has read this WSDL and extracted all the things from this part of WSDL and shown you in terms of UI. Trust me, if you will give me WSDL, I can write the code without any tool. Even without rest assured, I have tested the web application, web service I have tested. So it is as simple as written. But yeah, for that you should have some good knowledge in terms of Java. You should knowledge that what APIs are available. Okay, so for that you can also test. But yeah, we have a tool, so we can take the help of. Okay, so now let me give you example. I have hosted this application on my local. Are you able to see? This is the name of my you can say name of my machine. So I can show you it is really implemented. I can take the name of Madhur, M-A. Okay, let me do one thing. Instead of calling this, can I show you this? Okay, let me run this. You will see some output at the right side. Are you able to see this outputs? Anybody?
Yes.
Okay, Ankita, can you tell me, are you able to see in this output, are you getting any name Madhur? Are you getting any data with the Madhur?
No, Pradeep.
No. So why I'm saying this, because I have created this web service so that you can understand everything. It is a live web service. So I can going to create here MADHUR. Again, I'm saying this is an optional part of creating a web service. If you don't want, don't do this. It is a max, you can say age Madhur can fight with me. So for safer side, I'm giving a 22. Madhur, I'm going to run this. Madhur, you have got this, that student created successfully ID 6. Now again, I'm going to run this. Okay. Can you tell me, Ankita, this time you are able to see the record of Madhur?
Yes.
Okay. So this is one operation. So this is actually giving a structure. But if you want to work only the manual part, this thing is already okay. You have to put some parameter, like I want to fetch the record of mother only. So I have a method get student by ID. Let me do here. What is the ID of, okay, what is the ID of mother? Ayushi, can you tell me what is the ID of mother in the response?
Six.
Ayushi. Okay, so we have one operation in web service get student by ID. I'm giving a ID here. So it is giving me response. Okay, are you getting this thing? Okay, so I have created this web service for learning purpose, because every time what you will, your automation start, trust me, your manager, your developer is going to share this thing only. But here you will get an opportunity. I will show you the code also. So code is not for development purpose, so that you can understand how things happens. I can show you one thing. How many operations are you able to see here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Are you able to see how many operations are there? 5. Anil, how many operations are there?
Yeah, Pradeep, it's correct.
Okay, so if I will say, this is also a part of your testing, that you have to verify whether you are getting a operation or method welcome or not. So you are not getting a here. So how you can verify? Okay, so how user, you can say how developer uses these things. If I will show you this code, this is, trust me, a simple code is here. If you want to add any you can say operation, any something like that, you have to simply write a code simply like this. I will show you how you can create. Again, I am saying this is a part of interest. If you don't want to, there is no need to. I can show you. Let me, okay, this part is only, I'm taking only one parameter, so I can create any type of operations here. So let me create one. Why I'm taking this thing? Because sometimes I can remember that 4 years back, one student said every time we got the opportunity to see the WSDL, WADL URLs only. So how we can understand what is the code behind running this? So, okay, let me give this name hello. Operation name is hello. Okay, so here, okay, why it is giving error? Okay, it is saying return type. So let me say instead of here, I can simply say string return, and I can return a string. Whatever I will return, I will return I will return hello. Oh, sorry, hello, and I will concatenate the thing with plus whatever name you will provide from your request. Okay, now I can see. Let me save it. Okay, and again I'm going here. Let me refresh this. Again I can say let me update definition. Are you able to see this one operation here also? Anil, are you able to see this hello operation?
Yes, Pradeep.
So in this way, actually, this is not the thing I'm saying that you should focus on this thing. But if you understand, okay, how this parameter, how this request, how this data is, because sometimes you have to check the structure of also. You know, the one test case of what is the first test case of your API testing, that you are getting every expected tag in your output field, you are getting the ID field, you are getting the name field, you are getting the subject field or Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
So your voice went.
Everybody.
Your voice went off.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry. I think for some time the net was actually unstable. Okay, so I was saying there here, my purpose is only to provide you this type of web service so that you can same time you can understand the difference between the SOAP and REST. So I not only provide you this SOAP based web service, I will provide you this REST based. I've already created this one, and this web service is also interacting with the data. So this is the overall thing, but whatever practical things are possible, I will try to give you in the session. Okay, so we have a time limit because it's already 4. So you have any questions, anybody, regarding syllabus, regarding technically? So the thing is only we always focus. You will see that I'm not going to open any PowerPoint slide for that, because everything will be practical here. Everything, whatever I will write, I will show you in front of you. So anybody have any questions? Madhur, you are good? You have any question?
No, Pradeep.
Okay, so this is the thing. Then we will talk about one by one. We will cover each and everything in your you can say framework. Okay, so we will talk about rest assured. Everything you will create. You can see in this way we have created the frameworks for different batches. So we are running a batch of full stack QA. In this batch we are covering all the thing. The syllabus is from pin to elephant. We are covering the Selenium automation. We are covering the API part. We are covering the performance part. We are covering the rest assured part. We are covering the robot framework. We are covering the Cucumber. So many things are we are covering here. So this batch is for that. We have Selenium batch. We have some API batch here. Okay. So this batch is only for API perspective. Everything we are covering. So if you have anything you doubt, you can ask me. Then we'll talk about the other things which you will get only on the refer me group. Okay, in terms of process. So anybody have any doubts? Anybody have any question? Yeah, hi Nitesh. Yeah, Nitesh, are you there?
So, Pradeep, just wanted to confirm, like, what all things that you will be covering as part of performance and security of production?
Performance in performance we are going to cover each and everything which we have described here. Everything, every type of API, means SOAP based API, REST based API, every type of methods, authentication, data driven, parameterization. Okay, and this is we are going to achieve with the help of JMeter all the components which you think that can be utilized in API testing. Okay, so every component in terms of API. Okay, if you talk about assertion, there are so many assertions there where we will talk about our response assertion in terms of. So everything, don't worry about that in terms of syllabus.
So just wanted to confirm, like, I have done scripting in JMeter, but like I'm less less experienced in doing analysis of the reports that we generate as part of JMeter. So will that be covered here, or just the scripting mode will be? Because scripting I am covered.
No.
But when it comes to analysis of the reports and
exactly
analyzing the performance and various graphs of the response times and all those things. So I am looking into that stuff.
Yeah, exactly, that will because trust me, because you have raised the right thing. If you are talking about only the scripting part, you are hitting some requests, you are getting some response. What the thing if you cannot suggest something to your client?
Correct.
Because and how you can suggest something to your client when you are saying that okay, this test data I've ran, this is the output, this is the report, and I can explain you the reports. So we will talk about different terminology in the you can say report. Your reports is analyzed on the basis of some terminology like throughput, like latency, like transaction per second, like bytes per second, we'll talk about different type of approach. First of all, you will see that when you are going to perform testing, you think you cannot say that one type of testing is enough in terms of performance. You have to perform volume testing. You know the volume testing, when your requests are same but you are putting some heavy data on your request, like some image so you have to use different type of things. So in terms of report, you will see this how volume testing is going to be analyzed when you talk about the BPS, bytes per second, because heavy request takes times in terms of byte. So you can, with the help of report, we will go for the HTML report and we will analyze, okay, it is taking bytes per second, can we reduce to some extent, okay, or if it is failing, what is the need to increase the extent for the BPS. So we can suggest the things. Okay. Okay, so we will talk about all the parameters on the. Yeah, anything else? Okay, Nitesh, are you there?
Yes, Pradeep, I'm here.
Yeah, so I'm done with the demo. So you can take the control if they have some question with you.
Yeah. So Anil, Bhushan, Ankita, Madhur, Rakshit, Shani, how was the demo? Hello.
So like my feedback would be, demo was fine and good. So Pradeep explained each and everything so clearly, but like I was able to connect most of the things, but like I can see most of the people here like they were new. So it's just my point of view, so I'm wrong. So like what I felt is like Pradeep went very fast in terms of content. So I don't know about other people's opinion, but this is what I felt, because when a newcomer is learning all these things, so connecting these things it somewhat takes time. So that's what I felt. Like, the content delivery was very fast in terms of explaining the things. So that's what my personal.
I understand your point. Thank you so much. Actually, the thing is, we have a very limited time, right? And in this, you have seen that when we have started the demo, so approximately 15 people were there, and later on only 9. Gaurav has just joined, so only 8 people has left. Reason, the demo, we have a limitation. We cannot keep it for 2 or 3 hours, right? So that is the reason we have to cover each and everything in a very right. Okay, so
yeah, I'm agree.
Yeah. So content wise it was very awesome. So content wise it was very awesome, and the data, the concepts that Pradeep explained, that were very amazing. Very knowledgeable. But what the content was delivered time was, I felt was very less.
Yeah, I completely agree, Rakshit. So
one thing I want to mention. Yeah, one thing I want to mention here. This is the thing, because this is a demo session, and trust me, everybody want to see more about the training, understanding how they are delivering the topics and how many topics they are trying to cover, and in the depth also. So this is the only thing with the demo session. In the regular session, trust me, I have to, because first thing I will tell you what is my challenge. You know some concept of API, but most of the person don't know. So if I will, whatever I will tell here, okay, so they will they have to be you can say understand from the zero level. But demo session, do you think we cannot start something from zero and go to some extent? We can only cover this thing in the regular sessions. In demo, you can get a glimpse of that really trainer has a understanding of concept, really he has a knowledge, so that he can deliver the concept in a regular session. Okay, otherwise I'm agree with you that my speed was little bit fast. So this is the not case when we have regular sessions. Okay, Rakshit?
Okay. Yeah, sure. So that's what nothing personal against that, but yes, the session was very nice.
No, I'm agree with you. I'm agree with you. The reason is that we have some challenges, because trust me, some people we have taken. sometimes people what they say that Pradeep has just gone through the non-technical things. Pradeep, I want some more technical things in the so everybody expectation is that the person should go into the deep, they should show some. We don't know anything, but we can also try to understand what is the knowledge of trainer. So because we cannot judge the trainer in one demo session, so whatever trainer can show us that this is knowledge, how we can provide you, definitely everything is possible in a systematic manner from 0 to 1, right? So we can achieve this thing in regular sessions. Yeah. Okay. So but but I really appreciate that you have given an honest feedback for that. So in regular session you will not get this problem. Yeah, Nitesh.
Yeah. Okay. Madhur, Ankita, what was your feedback? Shani?
For me, demo was good, Nitesh. Thank you, Pradeep, for sharing all this with us. And yeah, I have seen the content earlier also, and I'm happy with this one.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ankita. Madhur and Bhushan, what was your feedback? Bhushan has some network issue, I guess. Madhur and...
Yeah, it was good.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it was good. All the queries were answered. We got a glimpse of what we want to cover in this course. So it was pretty good.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madhur. Anil, are you there?
Yeah, Nitesh.
Yeah.
So for me, the demo was again, it is good, and the content was again, it is like I came to know like backend code as well for the APIs and all. So it seems fine and like really fantastic for me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Anil. Thanks a lot. Gaurav, you have just joined. I mean, I don't know what to ask from you, but we'll share the recording.
Yeah, actually, I was not having the password. I was not having the password, so they sent me the password just now.
No. I guess. Let me check. I have sent you at that time only.
Yeah, but it was not allowing me to log in. It was not allowing me to log in. So at that time, and then I was not able to log in, and now I am able to do it.
I don't know. Maybe some technical issue. So very sorry for that. But the password has been shared to you at 2:30 near about, and we have started from the same time.
Yeah.
But anyways, I will share the recording with you. So guys, yeah, thank you, Gaurav. So we are going to start. Sorry.
Sorry, you will be sharing the recording on the email ID or like where?
We will share on the same group.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So guys, we are going to start this workshop from coming weekend, right? And the fees which we have kept is this is covering of your API plus JMeter plus security with the performance testing, everything. So that we have kept. It is a complete API engineering, right? So we have kept the fees is 15,000 rupees, but today we have given one offer, that's a 3,000 rupees of flat discount in case if anyone joins today. It is a 3 months of a course, right? And people can pay in installment. One. Second is that if you have any referral, so we will think for a more discount, and you can pay also in installment, right? So in 2 or 3 installment you guys can pay. So this was end from my side. I mean from Refer Me Group side. Any question, anything if you have, you can ask. Anil, Bhushan, Gaurav. I mean Gaurav, you are recent. So Ankita, Madhur, Rakshit, Shani. Okay, Shani has left. So any question, guys, you can ask. Otherwise, we can close the session, and I will share the recording. Okay, so I am taking it as a no question. So Pradeep, thank you so much for this wonderful session, and I will connect with people who are interested, right? And then from next week we will start this workshop. Fine, Pradeep?
Yeah, thank you, Nitesh.
Yeah, thank you.
So Nitesh, yeah, Nitesh, we can also communicate that what is the procedure of our providing the session, downloading if they want.
Yeah. So I mean every session is shared with the people. I mean The video is downloaded. Video has been given to you for each session, the recordings and documents, whatever is required. So everything is there. Apart from that, we also help to get the job. I mean, I'm not saying that we will provide you the job, but we will share the job information related to the same topics. So that we do. And Madhur has done RPA with us. So Madhur knows there is one RPA group which is created by us, and we share the RPA jobs in those groups. And Ankita is there. She knows that Refer Me group share a lot of jobs. Like yesterday, I have shared approximately 515 jobs related to QA, development, HR, and everything. So that we share.
Yes.
And that's why it's a different from other training institute, I can say. Right. So guys, idea is not, I mean, again, I'm saying it is not that you join only Refer Me group to learn API engineering. You can go and learn from YouTube or from Udemy, anywhere. But the difference is that for any training, there is a need of instructor. People who have done courses from Udemy, today they realize that it is only to just know about the technology. If you want to really grab the knowledge, Udemy and LinkedIn are not a good source. No trainer is there. No one is going to support. Right, and we know the truth. People go for Udemy or in these places just for money. So invest your money wisely. Again, anywhere, that is your choice, but invest your money wisely, because this is a question of your career. Right. So Sanjay, you have just joined. I mean, I don't know why you are late. So I will share the recording in the same WhatsApp group. Sanjay, are you there in the same WhatsApp group? Okay, anyways, I don't know Sanjay is able to listen or not. So thank you so much, Pradeep, for this wonderful session. Thank you, Anil. Thank you, Bhushan. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Ankita. Thank you, Madhur. Thank you, Rakshit. And have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy with your family. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you all. Bye. Bye.